Boker Tove, getting out for the walk. It's a mediocre day, it looks like. Cloudy, wet. Usually this is a good day for collecting worms. I can walk down my driveway with a little toothpick and a bucket, and I can pick up 75, 100 worms, throw in my garden very easily. But interestingly, they're not on the driveway this morning. Maybe, sometimes the cold seems to bring them out, not just the wet. In any event, do you see what's behind me? Do you see? My crab apples are blooming. Yes, look at that. They're not even in full bloom yet. Told Mom to step out of the cottage yesterday. Got her out of bed and look. That's beautiful. And her lilacs, right in front of her house, there's two old lilac trees, probably go up about 12 feet, that they get these really dark blue, almost black. They're so dark blue or purple. So the weeping cherry just finished its bloom. She's got a great view out that front door. Got to get her sitting out on the front porch some more. Hey, look, I wanted to mention something that I talk about a lot with a post that I say, the hypocrisy is greater than the truth. If you've looked at my Facebook posts over the last several years, you notice me using that phrase quite a bit. When the temples were corrupt in ancient Judah and ancient Israel, that was a common thought at the time, that there was a lot of the corruption was also, there was so much hypocrisy amongst the Pharisees and the people of Israel. We see, what do they say? The pride comes before the fall. We're so prideful here in America, and especially the mainstream media, about how great they think their cultural agenda is. Well, let's think about some of these hypocrisy or hypocritical aspects of what they don't report, or how they report, or how we speak about it in political terms. So let's just start out with congratulations to America for achieving, for the 6th straight year, a new high in sexually transmitted disease. And by the way, the United States is consistently number one in the top 10 developed nations, number one for STDs. Yep, there's something to be proud of, huh? They say we're a lot like Edom and Sodom. It didn't turn out too well, folks. And here we are. And who promotes this culture of promiscuity and unprotected sex and all these other things that are happening? The media, the culture that we're in, the music industry, film and TV, celebrities. That's the way we are with sex and gender and everything else. It's just all out of control. And so what are we getting for that? Well, one of the prizes is we are number one of the top 10 developed nations in sexually transmitted disease, and we just keep getting better, because this is the 6th straight year of a new record. Oh, and the black community, by the way, is 5 to 8 times higher than the white non-Hispanic community. You mean that's a big issue in the black community? So I guess BLM would be talking about this problem in their black community. Yeah, right. Hypocrisy. No more than they're talking about the phenomenal numbers of blacks that are killed by abortion, or the outrageously high black on black murders, or the sickening, tragic number of black children that grow up without fathers. The number it's horrible. I feel it's just a terrible predicament in the black community on all these factors. But don't worry, the BLM's there to save you. So good luck with that. They're just giving you a shovel and saying dig deeper, and you just keep digging deeper. Oh, but where else is there hypocrisy? Well, since we're talking disease, let's talk about COVID. So in September of last year, President Trump said that we would have enough vaccines by April of this year for everyone in the United States. And even the head of the Center of Disease Control, whatever his name was, this particular guy, refuted it. He said, no, it wouldn't be until at the earliest fall, November, whatever. In fact, there was an argument at the time. Trump shut him up. He disagreed with him, and he put him down. But the media scoffed at it. Smart people said, no, we're not going to get a cure this quickly, a vaccine this quickly. It takes years. But thanks to Operation Warp Speed and the amazing effort to get regulations and roadblocks and other things that were hurdles and delaying the progress of vaccines and research in the medical industry, we got to a vaccine when? Well, okay, so here's another one of those hypocrisies. It was announced 1 week after the election. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that something that was that close to something everybody said couldn't happen, that really he deserved to win the election on this point alone? Okay, on this point alone, because it is this disease that brought down the economy. It's this disease that came from out of the arch nemesis, our arch nemesis and enemy that he'd been standing up to for his entire term. Okay, that he faulted for not releasing information and so forth on. And he received virtually no credit for this. Virtually no credit. And does Biden give him any credit for what would not even have been possible if it wasn't achieved thanks to President Trump? Do you, as Democrats, if you're a Democrat, do you give him any credit? Of course not. Of course not. And not only did he have the disease vaccine pegged, he also pegged how that the logistical efforts that were being worked out, which were astounding, would get it out to the public. A lot of groundwork was laid, which is why President Biden could before he could even find the light switches, was sitting on the solution, already had the solution at hand. And so 100 million people in 100 days. Thanks to who? Thanks to Trump. Does he give any Trump in his speech the other night? Or at any point along the way? Of course not. That's not a way. That's hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy. Staying with hypocrisy, did you hear much about the wall last night? Did you hear about the border? Did you hear about the crisis at the border? Not really. Because it's not a crisis anymore for them. No. It was a crisis when the numbers were at record lows with the Trump administration. Then it was a crisis. Then we were tearing children from their families. But oh no. The moment Biden gets into office, they stop the wall, the word goes out, and the gates open and the floods start coming into America without any checking for disease, without checking for COVID. Okay, the numbers go through the roof, record highs. But guess what? It's not a crisis anymore. No, it's an opportunity now. It's an opportunity to make changes. It's an opportunity to do the reset. And these children, they're not being ripped from children and put in cages. Oh, no. Now, they're unaccompanied and we need to put them in hotels. And just everywheres. And they'll have no court date and they'll just get lost. And so we'll have people that are undocumented and whatnot, and we totally make a mockery of immigration law in America. It's a mockery. It's a hypocrisy. Okay? Do we recognize it as hypocrisy? No. It's Biden being a success story. Okay? Now, the hypocrisies go on and on with how we spend money. You know, how all the things that Trump said that Biden would do, from Iran deal, nuclear deal, war and unrest coming back to the Middle East. Okay, the riots in Jerusalem, the rockets from Gaza, the Iranian speedboats harassing us again. You know, the unrest that's going on there, which is partly offset by what? The Abraham Accords that we can thank the Trump administration for, but they won't. Okay? This was something he predicted. You know what else he predicted? The economy, the GDP numbers. You see, Biden wanted to wait for the GDP numbers. He put off his State of the Union speech. His State of the Union speech should have been delivered in February or January even. That's what's traditional. No, he put it off. What did he put it off to? Till we had GDP numbers. And what were those GDP numbers? Exactly what Trump said. Trump said, when we get this virus under control, and as we do, the economy is going to come booming back. He said, you ain't seen nothing yet. The numbers are going to be the best ever. That's what he said. Go back and read it. But nope. It's Biden's economy. He did it. The hypocrisy of it all. The hypocrisy of it all. We'd pack the court, he said. No. We'd make D.C. a state. No. Everything he said is coming true. Everything he said. And he gets no credit for his predictions. He gets no credit for his accomplishments. Because it's hypocrisy. Because this is an opportunity, and it's in Biden's speech throughout, and you have to notice it. And I put a post about this last night, I believe. It's remarks by Glenn Beck, who you can love or hate him, but I used to dislike the guy a lot. You didn't trust him at all years ago. But that's because I listened to what the mainstream media had to say about him. After I finally did my own research and studied him more and listened to him more and reached my own intelligent conclusions, you know, I realized what was happening. But he pointed out what's in this speech throughout. And it's important you get your head around this one. There's a good likelihood that the Democrats will lose, or could lose, both the House and the Senate in the midterms. And they know it. What'll happen? Who knows? But that's a real possibility. And with it, there goes the agenda, the socialist agenda, the build bigger government agenda, create bigger dependency agenda. With that, what do they have to do with that real possibility? They have to get as much done in 2 years, really only a year left roughly. They have to get as much done as they possibly can. That's the truth of the matter, okay? So what you hear in that speech, you got to listen for it, is this constant sense of urgency. And in a way, it's modeling the Communist Party's approach to things. Because we are moving towards socialism and communism. And with that, you move towards central government, bigger government, government in control, government deciding right and wrong, government taking away your freedoms. And Biden said some people are debating, or some people are thinking, but he was implying in his comment, but not him. He already knows it, that a republic, a democracy, the way we operate in this country is too slow. That we have to move faster. Now, here's the irony. Our founding fathers designed our government our government is designed to get stuck. It's designed to move slow. It's designed to get into a lock, get locked up. When there's too much partisanship, the founding fathers thought that then nothing should be able to get done. The government was designed to force our leaders to work together so that there wouldn't be this effort to grab too much power. Because if if there's a way for either party or anybody to grab too much power, so goes the country. So goes the design of our republic. A lot of thought and effort, and probably providence, was put into our Constitution and our concepts of our Supreme Court and so forth, particularly, specifically, to lock us up. Now, there are times when we need to move fast. And when we have to, our country does that. We saw that with warp speed. We also saw that when we finally made the decision, when our leaders stopped with the lies and faced up to what Hitler was doing because they were forced to. And we put our economy to work to build planes and ships and so forth. We were incredible because the American system of government and of free business and partnership and private enterprise and entrepreneurship and innovation is the greatest in the world, which is why China steals from it, steals our developments. Let us develop it, then they'll just hack into it. They'll plant a spy. I mean, there's just incredible issues in government-funded research in universities today. They're finding. They knew it was there. So my point of it is that what Biden is talking about is being able to move so fast now to secure things that we may not be able to do when they lose power. Then if they don't have the House and the Senate, then they have to work with the other side, which is what our government is designed to do. But they don't want that. They don't want unity. They don't want a bipartisan approach. That is the message of his speech. It's not a speech of unity. It's hypocrisy. It's the ultimate hypocrisy. It's a man who obviously does have issues, who did no campaigning, and somehow managed to win this election from his basement with the least popular vice presidential candidate in history by his side, who had to drop out early because her polls were so low. That somehow these two clowns managed to win this election. And now, to get the agenda that is behind them, that is really behind us, behind this Democratic Party right now, this president, to get their agenda done, they have to get it done this year. And they're willing to do anything to get it through. Kill the filibuster, pack the court, make D.C. a state. As far as D.C. is concerned, there's a solution to D.C. Get rid of the District of Columbia. Put what belongs in Virginia on the side of Potomac, give it to the two states. Make it what it was. It doesn't have to be a district. These could be parks, buildings, and federal buildings, just like a federal courthouse in any country, in any city. We don't need a district per se. These could be just the states that they are. But to give a state that, with the density and power and money that D.C. has, the corrupt swamp, a state presence, is a pure partisan play. There's a reason our founding fathers did not make it a state. There's a reason they made it a district without voting rights, without the same voting privileges. There's a reason for it. But once again, we're heading so fast. In a blink of an eye, we won't be the nation that we were. We're almost not. And it's because of hypocrisy and lies and a press that doesn't cover the truth. It's all about truth, folks. It's all about truth. We're like Sodom. We're like Edom. And there's a price to be paid. That's the truth. And it's Friday. So as I always say, TGIS. Thank God it's Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.